Lily wasn't just shy, she was practically invisible. Working in the mailroom of the enormous Sterling Enterprises, she felt like a tiny paperclip lost in a mountain of documents. Her days were filled with sorting letters, packages, and interoffice memos. Sterling Enterprises was a giant, a building buzzing with hundreds of employees all rushing to meetings and working on important projects. Lily, however, felt far removed from all the excitement. She preferred the quiet order of the mailroom, the predictable routine of sorting and delivering. Talking to people, especially strangers, made her palms sweat and her voice tremble. Organizing envelopes, on the other hand, was calming and comfortable. She liked things neat and tidy. The mailroom itself was a world of its own, tucked away in the basement. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead and the air always smelled faintly of paper and ink. It was a place where Lily felt safe, a refuge from the hustle and bustle of the corporate world above. The mailroom was more than just a room, it was Lily's carefully constructed world. Rows of metal shelves lined the walls, overflowing with packages of all shapes and sizes. A large sorting table dominated the center of the room, usually covered in a chaotic jumble of envelopes waiting to be organized. Lily, however, always managed to bring order to the chaos. She had her own system, a meticulous process that she followed every day. First, she would separate the mail by department, carefully placing each envelope into its designated bin. Then she would sort the mail within each department, arranging it alphabetically by recipient. Finally, she would deliver the mail, pushing a large cart through the maze of hallways, trying to avoid eye contact with anyone she passed. The sounds of the mailroom were a constant hum, the whirring of the postage meter, the crinkling of paper, the soft thud of packages being dropped onto the table. It was a comforting sound to Lily, a familiar rhythm that helped her focus and stay calm. Mr. Thompson, the CEO, was a legend. His name echoed through the halls of Sterling Enterprises, spoken with a mixture of respect and fear. He was rarely seen outside of the executive offices on the top floor. Rumor had it he was a brilliant but demanding man, a workaholic who expected nothing less than perfection. Lily had never seen him, not even from a distance. He was a mythical figure to her, a powerful being who existed in a completely different realm. The thought of actually meeting him sent shivers down her spine. He was everything she wasn't, confident, assertive, and important. His office was said to be enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. He had a private elevator, a personal assistant, and a team of advisors at his beck and call. The idea that he would ever have any reason to interact with someone like her, a simple mailroom clerk, was unthinkable. He was the sun and she was a tiny speck of dust. It was a Tuesday afternoon and Maria, Lily's co-worker, had stepped out for a quick coffee break. Lily was covering the phones, something she dreaded. The phone rarely rang, but when it did, it usually meant dealing with someone impatient or confused. Suddenly, one of the phones buzzed, a different ring than the usual incoming calls. It was a direct line, reserved for internal calls only. Hesitantly, Lily reached for the receiver. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. "Mailroom, Lily speaking," she managed to squeak out, her voice barely above a whisper. There was a moment of silence on the other end, and then a deep, authoritative voice spoke. "This is Thompson. I need package Alpha Gamma 7 delivered to my office immediately. It's urgent." Lily's blood ran cold. It was the Mr. Thompson. She had answered the CEO's private line. Lily's mind went blank. "P-package? Alpha? Gamma? 7? She stammered, her voice trembling so badly she could barely get the words out. She could practically feel Mr. Thompson's impatience through the phone line. "Yes, Alpha, Gamma, 7, he repeated, his tone firm but surprisingly patient. Lily had expected him to be furious, to yell at her for her hesitation. But instead, he just sounded busy. "Is it on its way?" Lily's heart pounded in her chest. I'll check right away, Mr. Thompson," she managed to say, and quickly hung up the phone before she could embarrass herself further. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the receiver. Taking a shaky breath, Lily turned to the shelves, her eyes scanning the rows of packages. Alpha, Gamma, 7. She didn't remember seeing it. A wave of panic washed over her. Where was it? This was a disaster. Lost packages were a mailroom nightmare. Sometimes they turned up later, misplaced or mislabeled. But sometimes they vanished completely. And a lost package for the CEO? That was a career-ending disaster waiting to happen. Lily imagined Mr. Thompson pacing impatiently in his enormous office, waiting for the package. She pictured him getting angrier and angrier, his patience wearing thin. She could almost hear him firing her over the phone. The thought of facing his disappointment, his anger, was almost unbearable. More than that, she hated the idea of letting him down. Even though she had never met him, she felt a strange sense of responsibility. He needed that package, and it was her job to find it. She knew she had to do something, anything, to rectify the situation. She couldn't just sit there and wait for the axe to fall. She had to find that package, no matter what it took. Her job, and maybe even her future, depended on it. Forgetting her shyness, Lily sprang into action. She started with the shelves, carefully examining each package, double-checking the labels, and even moving boxes to look behind them. She checked the incoming mail bin, the outgoing mail bin, and even the lost and found, though she knew it was a long shot. She crawled under the sorting table, peering into the dusty shadows, hoping the package had simply fallen off. She rummaged through stacks of old newspapers and magazines, just in case. With each passing minute, her anxiety grew. The mailroom, once her sanctuary, now felt like a prison. The walls seemed to be closing in on her, and the weight of her responsibility pressed down on her. But she refused to give up. She couldn't let Mr. Thompson down. She wouldn't let herself down. She had to keep searching, even if it meant turning the entire mailroom upside down. Her quiet nature was no match for her determination. Dust bunnies danced in the air as Lily pulled out boxes and peered behind filing cabinets. She checked under stacks of unopened mail, feeling the rough texture of envelopes against her fingertips. She even looked inside empty coffee cups, a desperate measure born of pure anxiety. The search was exhausting. Her arms ached from lifting heavy boxes, and her knees were sore from crawling on the floor. Sweat trickled down her forehead, and her hair was a mess. But she pressed on, fueled by a mixture of fear and determination. She imagined herself as a detective searching for clues in a mystery. Each envelope, each package was a potential lead. She had to be thorough, methodical, and relentless. She overturned bins, rearranged shelves, and even checked inside the rarely used supply closet. The mailroom was now in complete disarray, a testament to her frantic search. Still, no Alpha Gamma 7. The clock was ticking. A memory flickered in Lily's mind. She was a small girl hiding behind her mother's legs at the grocery store. An elderly woman had dropped her purse, scattering its contents across the floor. Lily, usually too shy to speak to strangers, had instinctively rushed forward to help. She had gathered the woman's belongings, her small hands trembling, and returned them with a shy smile. The woman's grateful face had made her feel incredibly proud. The memory faded, but the feeling lingered. She could be brave when it mattered. She could overcome her fear to help someone in need. This wasn't just about a package, it was about doing the right thing. It was about proving to herself that she was capable, that she wasn't just an invisible girl in the mailroom. The CEO needed her help, and she wouldn't let him down. She would find that package no matter how scared she was. She would keep going. Just as despair began to creep in, Lily noticed something out of the corner of her eye. Tucked away in a dark corner behind a stack of forgotten office supplies, almost completely hidden from view, was a small, nondescript package. With trembling hands, she reached for it. She brushed off the dust and squinted at the label. And there it was, Alpha Gamma 7. A wave of relief washed over her, so intense it almost made her weak. She had found it. She had actually found it. All the anxiety, the fear, the exhaustion vanished in an instant, replaced by a surge of triumph. She clutched the package to her chest, feeling a sense of accomplishment she had never experienced before. She wasn't just Lily, the shy mailroom girl, anymore. She was Lily, the girl who found the CEO's missing package. She was Lily, the girl who didn't give up. She was Lily, who could be brave. Taking a deep breath, Lily straightened her shoulders and prepared herself for the daunting task ahead. She had to deliver the package to Mr. Thompson's office. Personally, the thought of facing the CEO, of actually standing in his presence, sent a fresh wave of anxiety through her. But she knew she couldn't just leave the package for someone else to deliver. She had to take responsibility to see this through to the end. She smoothed down her wrinkled uniform, brushed a stray strand of hair from her face, and took a tentative step towards the door. The mailroom suddenly seemed small and insignificant compared to the vastness of the company beyond. With the package clutched tightly in her hand, Lily stepped out of the mailroom and into the unknown. It was time to face Mr. Thompson. It was time to be brave. It was time to change her life. The elevator ride to the top floor felt like an eternity. Lily's stomach churned with every passing second. She imagined all the important people who had ridden this elevator before, all the deals that had been made, all the decisions that had been taken. When the doors finally opened onto the executive floor, Lily was almost blinded by the sunlight streaming through the enormous windows. Everything was sleek and modern, a stark contrast to the dimly lit mailroom. She walked towards Mr. Thompson's office, her footsteps echoing on the polished marble floor. The receptionist, a woman with a perfectly coiffed hairstyle and an impeccably tailored suit, looked up from her computer. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice cool and professional. I have a package for Mr. Thompson," Lily stammered, her voice barely audible. She clutched the package even tighter, her knuckles white. This was it. There was no turning back now. The receptionist nodded curtly and gestured towards a large, imposing door. "Go right in." Lily took another deep breath and pushed open the door. Mr. Thompson's office was even more impressive than she had imagined. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city, and the room was filled with expensive furniture and artwork. Mr. Thompson was sitting behind a large mahogany desk, his brow furrowed as he reviewed some documents. He looked up as Lily entered, his gaze sharp and assessing. The office was grand, but Lily noticed something unexpected. On the corner of the desk, amidst the stacks of papers and files, was a small, framed photograph. It showed Mr. Thompson smiling broadly, surrounded by a group of children. They looked like his grandchildren. The picture made him seem more human, less intimidating. It was a comforting detail in the otherwise overwhelming space. "Mr. Thompson?" Lily said tentatively, holding out the package. He took the package from her, his eyes meeting hers for the first time. "Thank you," he said, his voice surprisingly gentle. "I appreciate you bringing this up personally. I understand it was misplaced." Lily blushed, feeling a wave of guilt. "I'm so sorry, sir," she stammered. "It was my fault. I should have been more careful." Mr. Thompson studied her for a moment, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "Well, what matters is that you found it. And you delivered it quickly. That shows dedication. What's your name?" "Lily, sir." "Lily Peterson." "Lily," he repeated as if testing the name. "Tell me, Lily Peterson, what do you do here at Sterling Enterprises?" He seemed genuinely curious. "I work in the mailroom, sir," Lily replied, her voice gaining a little confidence. "The mailroom," Mr. Thompson mused. "So you're the one who keeps this company running smoothly, one letter at a time." He smiled and Lily felt her cheeks flush. "Well, I try my best, sir," she said. Then, before she could stop herself, the words tumbled out. "Actually, I've had an idea for a while now about how to improve the mail sorting system. It could save time and reduce the chance of misplaced packages." She immediately regretted saying it. Who was she, a lowly mailroom clerk, to offer suggestions to the CEO? She braced herself for his dismissal. Instead, Mr. Thompson leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with interest. "Oh? And what's your idea, Lily Peterson?" Emboldened by his genuine interest, Lily launched into her explanation. She described her idea for color-coding the mail bins and creating a more logical flow for the sorting process. She explained how this would minimize errors and speed up delivery times. Mr. Thompson listened intently, nodding occasionally and asking clarifying questions. He seemed genuinely impressed by her attention to detail and her understanding of the mailroom system. "That's a very insightful idea, Lily," he said when she had finished. "I can see you've put a lot of thought into this." He paused, tapping his pen on the desk. "I appreciate your initiative. I think you have a real eye for efficiency." He leaned back in his chair, his gaze thoughtful. "Tell you what, Lily. I have a temporary assignment coming up in our logistics department. It involves streamlining their inventory process. Would you be interested in helping out?" Lily's jaw dropped. A temporary assignment? In the logistics department? It was an incredible opportunity, but also terrifying. I don't know, Mr. Thompson," she stammered. "I've never worked in logistics before. I'm just a mailroom clerk." "Nonsense, Lily," Mr. Thompson said, waving his hand dismissively. "You have a sharp mind and a good eye for detail. Those are valuable assets, no matter what department you're in. Besides," he added with a wink, "I have a feeling you'll do just fine." He stood up and extended his hand. "Think about it, Lily. It's a chance to learn new skills and challenge yourself. And who knows, it might even lead to something more permanent." Lily hesitated for a moment, her mind racing. Fear battled with excitement. Finally, she took a deep breath and shook his hand. "Okay, Mr. Thompson," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I'll do it." The next morning, Lily walked into the logistics department feeling like a fish out of water. It was a bustling, chaotic environment filled with computers, spreadsheets, and ringing phones. People rushed around, speaking in jargon she didn't understand. Her supervisor, a friendly woman named Sarah, greeted her with a warm smile. "Welcome, Lily. We're so glad to have you. Mr. Thompson tells me you have a knack for organization." Sarah explained that the department was struggling to keep track of its inventory. Items were constantly being lost or misplaced, causing delays and costing the company money. Lily's task was to find a way to improve the tracking system and streamline the process. Lily felt overwhelmed, but she was also excited. This was a chance to use her skills in a new and challenging way. She was determined to prove herself, to show Mr. Thompson that he had made the right decision. But first, she had to figure out where to start. This was going to be harder than finding a lost package in the mailroom. This was going to require real courage. Lily spent the next few days observing the logistics department, taking notes, and asking questions. It was difficult at first. She had to learn a whole new vocabulary and understand complex processes. She made mistakes, stumbled over her words, and sometimes felt completely lost. But she persevered. She stayed late, researched online, and wasn't afraid to ask for help. Slowly but surely, she began to understand the system. She identified bottlenecks, inefficiencies, and areas where improvements could be made. She also started to connect with her colleagues. They were initially wary of the shy girl from the mailroom, but they soon realized she was smart, dedicated, and genuinely interested in helping them. She started to participate in team meetings, offering suggestions and sharing her ideas. Each small contribution boosted her confidence a little more. She was still shy, but she was learning to find her voice. The lost package was a distant memory replaced by the challenges and triumphs of her new role. The time came for Lily to present her findings and recommendations to the team. She had prepared a detailed presentation, but as she stood in front of the group, her heart began to race. Her palms were sweaty and her voice trembled. She stumbled over the first few slides, her words jumbled and her sentences incomplete. She could feel the eyes of her colleagues on her, and she wanted to disappear. She was failing. But then she remembered the mailroom. She remembered the determination she had felt when she was searching for the lost package, the unwavering commitment to finding it no matter what. She remembered Mr. Thompson's belief in her. Taking a deep breath, she slowed down and focused on the task at hand. She reminded herself that she knew the material inside and out, that she had valuable insights to share. She straightened her shoulders and continued, her voice growing stronger with each slide. The determination of the mailroom returned. Another memory surfaced, this time of her grandmother, Nana Rose. Nana Rose had always been Lily's biggest cheerleader, encouraging her to step outside her comfort zone and embrace new challenges. "You have a special light inside you, Lilybug," Nana Rose would say. "Don't let shyness dim it. Be brave, be bold, and let the world see what you're capable of." Nana Rose had passed away a few years ago, but her words still echoed in Lily's heart. Nana Rose had always pushed her to participate in school plays and talent shows, even though Lily dreaded being in the spotlight. She remembered one particularly disastrous performance where she had forgotten her lines and burst into tears. But Nana Rose had been there, waiting in the wings with a warm hug and words of encouragement. "It's okay to make mistakes, Lilybug," she had said. "What matters is that you tried." Remembering Nana Rose's unwavering support, Lily felt a surge of strength. She wouldn't let her grandmother down. She wouldn't let her shyness win. She would finish the presentation. As Lily continued her presentation, she found her rhythm. She spoke clearly and confidently, explaining her ideas with passion and enthusiasm. She answered questions thoughtfully and engaged with her colleagues in a meaningful way. By the end of the presentation, the room was buzzing with excitement. Her colleagues were impressed with her insights and her practical solutions. They praised her attention to detail and her ability to simplify complex processes. Sarah, her supervisor, gave her a beaming smile. "That was fantastic, Lily. You really nailed it. I think you've given us a clear roadmap for improving our inventory system." For the first time in her life, Lily felt a surge of genuine self-belief. She had done it. She had overcome her shyness, conquered her fear, and delivered a successful presentation. She was no longer just an invisible girl in the mailroom. She was capable, intelligent, and valuable. She could make a difference. She believed in herself. Unbeknownst to Lily, Mr. Thompson had been following her progress closely. He had asked Sarah for regular updates, and he had even discreetly observed one of her team meetings from a distance. He was impressed with what he saw. He had recognized something special in Lily from the moment she had walked into his office, a spark of intelligence, a quiet determination, a genuine desire to make a difference. He was pleased to see that his instincts had been correct. Lily had not only met the challenge, but she had exceeded all expectations. She had blossomed in her new role, transforming from a shy mailroom clerk into a confident and capable member of the logistics team. He was proud of her. He knew that her temporary assignment was coming to an end, and he had a decision to make. He could send her back to the mailroom where she would continue to sort letters and packages. Or he could offer her something more. Something permanent. The day her temporary assignment ended arrived quickly. Lily packed up her desk, feeling a mix of emotions. She was proud of what she had accomplished in the logistics department, but she was also nervous about returning to the mailroom. She had enjoyed the challenges, the interactions with her colleagues, and the sense of purpose she had found in her new role. The mailroom, once her sanctuary, now felt small and confining. She was grateful for the opportunity that Mr. Thompson had given her, but she knew that her time in the logistics department was limited. She tried to prepare herself for the disappointment of returning to her old life, of fading back into the background. She walked to Sarah's office to say goodbye, her heart heavy. "Thank you for everything, Sarah," she said, her voice tinged with sadness. "I learned so much from you." Sarah smiled warmly. "It was our pleasure, Lily. You did a fantastic job. We're all going to miss you." She paused, then added, "Mr. Thompson wants to see you in his office before you leave." Lily's heart skipped a beat. Mr. Thompson wanted to see her? What could he possibly want? Was she in trouble? Had she done something wrong? She walked to his office, her steps hesitant. The receptionist smiled warmly, sensing her apprehension. "He's expecting you, Lily. Go right in." Mr. Thompson was standing by the window, looking out at the city. He turned as Lily entered, his expression kind. "Ah, Lily, come in, come in. Have a seat." He gestured to a chair, and Lily sat down nervously. "Thank you for seeing me, Mr. Thompson," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Lily," he said, leaning forward, "I've been following your progress in the logistics department, and I'm very impressed. You've done excellent work." He paused, then said, "I'd like to offer you a permanent position in the department. What do you say?" Lily's eyes widened in disbelief. A permanent position? In the logistics department? It was more than she could have ever hoped for. "Really, Mr. Thompson?" she asked, her voice filled with emotion. "Are you sure?" I don't know what to say." "I'm very sure, Lily," he said, smiling warmly. "You've earned it. You have a talent for this work, and I think you have a bright future here at Sterling Enterprises." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. She had come so far from the shy, invisible girl in the mailroom. She had faced her fears, embraced new challenges, and proven herself capable of so much more than she ever thought possible. "Yes, Mr. Thompson," she said, her voice firm and clear. "I accept. Thank you. Thank you so much." She stood up and shook his hand, a genuine smile spreading across her face. She was no longer afraid. She was excited about the future. She was proud of herself. Lily thrived in her new role. She continued to contribute innovative ideas, streamline processes, and improve efficiency in the logistics department. Her colleagues respected her opinions and valued her contributions. She was still a little shy, but she was much more confident. She spoke up in meetings, shared her thoughts openly, and wasn't afraid to take on new challenges. She had found her voice, and she was using it. She became known as a problem solver, a team player, and a valuable asset to the company. She was no longer just Lily from the mailroom, she was Lily Peterson, the logistics expert. She made new friends, laughed more often, and felt a sense of belonging she had never experienced before. She still loved the order and predictability of the mailroom, but she had discovered that she was capable of so much more. She had found her place in the world. Occasionally, Lily would see Mr. Thompson in the hallway. He would always smile and nod, a silent acknowledgement of her progress and her potential. Those small gestures meant the world to her. They reminded her of how far she had come, of the challenges she had overcome, and of the belief that someone had in her, even when she didn't believe in herself. She never forgot the day she answered his private line, the day she lost his package, the day she stepped into his office, terrified but determined. That day had changed her life forever. She still thought about implementing her mailroom sorting idea one day, too. Maybe she'd even find the courage to suggest it to Mr. Thompson. And sometimes, when things got tough, she would remember Nana Rose's words, "Be brave, be bold, and let the world see what you're capable of." And she would smile, knowing that she was finally living up to her grandmother's expectations. Years later, Lily sat at her desk in the logistics department, a confident smile on her face. The phone rang. "Logistics, Lily Peterson speaking," she answered, her voice clear and strong. On the other end of the line, a frazzled voice explained a complex problem involving a delayed shipment and a missing invoice. Lily listened patiently, asked clarifying questions, and quickly devised a solution. As she hung up the phone, she couldn't help but smile. She was no longer the shy, invisible girl who dreaded answering the phone. She was Lily Peterson, the problem solver, the logistics expert, the confident woman who had found her place in the world. She knew that life would continue to present challenges, but she was ready to face them head-on. She had learned that even a mistake, even a wrong number, could lead to amazing opportunities. The shy girl was gone, replaced by a woman who believed in herself and her ability to make a difference. The future was bright, and Lily was ready for it.